Marincess deck profile and combo. First, I'm going to show you the deck profile, and then I'm going to go over the one card combos and the cards that are really good when learning to play the deck. So I do have a side deck option for it, but we're going to go ahead and get into the main deck. So this is really a monster heavy deck, but it's fine because that's perfect for Marincess because there's a lot of cards that can go to the grave, especially when we draw. We need a lot of monsters in our hand because that's where the main combo comes from. But we go ahead and start off the archetype with 3 of Marincess Blue Tangs. This card is normal special summon. You can send one Marincess monster from your deck to your graveyard except Blue Tang. Then if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a link summon of a water monster, excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, add one evacuated Marincess card to your hand. Really good, because sometimes you can excavate dive, or you can excavate your field spell, which allows you to just skip one of the processes in your turn. Then we are running 3 copies of Seahorse. This is a really good starter card because you can just special summon it to a zone a Marincess Link monster points to. Then, except the turn that this card was sent to the graveyard during your main phase, you can banish and then special summon one Marincess in your hand to a zone a Marincess Link monster points to. So that's a really good effect. Plus, if you get it back from grave, you can keep on doing it since it is a level 3, so it does meet the requirements for most of the Link monsters. I am running 3 Pasculus. Card is really good, especially if you have another Marincess monster in hand, which is very likely because of all the monsters we do end up running in this deck. This card is normal special summon. You can special summon one Marincess monster from your hand in defense position. Then, during your main phase, except this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard, target one Marincess spell or trap in the graveyard and add it to hand. Really good, because if your opponent does end up getting rid of your field spell, you can just add it from the graveyard back to your hand. Or if you do end up using Marincess Dive, you can add that card back to your hand during the next turn and then activate it. I run 2 Marincess Spring Girls. It is a really good card. The thing is that most of the time we don't like to banish monsters, and I already do run a lot of monsters, and we need some of the cards where we only run 1 copy. So I just run 2 copies of this card, but you can banish one Marincess monster in your graveyard and special summon this card from your hand. Then if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a link summon, you can send cards from the top of your deck to your graveyard equal to the number of Marincess monsters you control. Then if a Marincess card was sent to the graveyard by this effect, inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each Marincess card sent. Really good, except sometimes whenever I'm running, it doesn't always hit, because if you start off with this card and you special summon it and then immediately link summon it for like a link 1, because you can do that, it won't always work because you would only have like maybe 1 or 2 Marincess monsters and you might not send all of them. It's not going to take a lot of damage, but it will take some damage and could end up eventually winning you the duel like that. I run 2 copies of Basilima. It's a pretty good card effect, especially if you can get it in the grave. Even when it's on the field, it does have 1 good card effect, but if a monster would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard instead. That's why if we are gonna run Blue Tang, you could send Basilima to grave, except that's not really gonna work with the combo. But you could send it to grave if it's like your second turn, or your third turn, really, the third turn in the duel. But if you're going first and it's your second time going, you could send that to grave. That way you can have extra protection. The 2 other effects is you can banish one Marincess trap from your graveyard and add one Marincess trap with a different name from your deck to hand. That's if this card is on the field. Then if this card is banished, you can target 1 face-down monster you control and gain 600 attack. I'm running 2 Crown Tails. I don't usually always use this in the comboing or in a duel, but it does have a pretty cool effect. Say if it's your second turn or something, or if you went first. During damage calculation, if a monster battles another monster, quick effect, you can send one other Marincess monster from your hand to the graveyard and special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, the damage you take from that battle is halved. Really good, especially if you happen to have the one card that we need to send to the grave, and that would be Mandarin. If you have that in hand, because that won't always work if you're running blue Tang. But if you have Crown Tail and Mandarin in hand and you went first, I would definitely use this whenever it's your opponent's turn and they attack. Because Mandarin effect is when it's in grave. If you control 2 or more Marincess monsters while this card is in your hand or grave, target one Marincess Link monster and special summon it. So yeah, I am running 1 copy of Mandarin. Mainly because I don't normally use 2 copies. Every time I did, I would never come across it, or I would always draw it at the wrong time. So I only run 1 because it's easy to get out when you're comboing and put into your graveyard. So we don't really use the effect when it's in the hand. I'm running 1 Sleepy Maiden, mainly because if this card is in your graveyard, you can attach 1 Link monster in your graveyard to a Link monster you control. And with your field spell in the field zone, it really helps with your monsters gaining attack. And I mainly use this card whenever I'm using my Link 4, where if it attacks, you can special summon one of its cards that's attached to it. Technically it's not part of the archetype, but I still, technically it's not, but in its effect it's always treated as a Marincess card, so you can always get this, but I am running 1 Trickstar Aqua Angel. Really good, because Link monsters that point to this card cannot be destroyed by battle. That's a really good effect. But you can only, the reason why I only run 1 is because you can only activate each of this card's effects once per duel. So it's kind of pointless to run 2 copies of the card. But if you control a Trickstar or Marincess monster, you can special summon this card from hand or grave. Then if this card is sent to the graveyard as Link material, you can look at all the cards in your opponent's hand and all set cards they control. Really good, because if they have a defense position monster, you can look at it. Spell or traps, you can see if they have any hand traps and find a way to bait them or work your way around it. For non-engine, I run 3 copies of Ice Jade, Ran something. It's really good, especially if you draw it on your first turn. It helps getting your Link 2 monster out, but you can discard one of your other water monsters in hand, which is a Marincess, because we don't run any other water monsters. And you can special summon this card along with the token. So we do end up running three different tokens in the deck, 1 for each copy. I never really use 3 copies, or end up pulling 3 copies. Kind of pointless, but most of the times in duels I only run across 1. Now, because nowadays when you play Yu-Gi-Oh, you really only get to like the 2nd or 3rd turn and the game's over. So that's all the main monsters. I am running a few hand traps, which in the side deck you can, I'm going to show you the side deck later on, and you can end up substituting these cards, but I do end up running 3 Ash Blossoms. Really great if your opponent activates an effect that makes them get cards from the deck to their hand, or special summon from the deck. I run 1 Ghost Ogre. Say if you're facing like Malice and they activate their Link monster's effect, you can Ghost Ogre them. It would destroy it. Sometimes, it depends on what card you end up negating. You have to know when to negate certain archetypes, so it's good to look into that. But sometimes they might have a negate for that, so I would make sure you look into what negates they have. I'm running 1 Skullmeister. It is just a different copy of Ghost Bell, except it still negates it, but it's only if it's activated in the effect. Ghost Bell does give you a lot more options when it comes to the graveyard effects. And I'm running 1 Battle Fader. I have been black holed sometimes in duels, and it surprises me because you wouldn't think that people would actually run black hole, but battle fader really comes in clutch then if you have it in hand to stop the battle phase, especially when you have no monsters, because your opponent would do that to you. Going on to the spells, we only run a few spells, 5 I think, because they're all easily obtained from your link monsters, from your link 1 really. But we are running 2 field spells, and that's Battle Ocean. Some people run 1 because it's easy to get from your link 1, except if it's sent to the graveyard, it takes certain monsters to get it out. So I run 2 just in case they end up getting rid of it, and you can just use your link 1 next turn to get it back from your deck and not the graveyard. I run 2 Marincess dives, also really obtainable by your link 1. When you draw it, it is also really good. And plus, if your field spell is in the field zone, you can actually special summon 1 Marincess from your deck instead of the graveyard. Really good, especially because I use that card when the field spell is in to get Sleepy Maiden. That way we can banish it and then attach 1 link monster to my link 4. And then for like a negate, I don't run Swords of Revealing Light. You can run it. I run Swords of Concealing Light, mainly because they can still activate their effects when in Swords of Revealing Light, but in Swords of Concealing Light, they're in face down defense position. And when you run, they can't activate their effects because it's in face down defense position, and they can't change it until this card gets off the field. So I really like that effect. Not a lot of people run that. They run Swords of Revealing. I like to run something different. For the traps, I end up running 2 Marincess Waves. This is part of the 1-card combos because whenever we search a Marincess spell or trap, I usually just get Marincess Wave. Another card you can get is Bubble Ring. The only thing is, once you get your big boss monster out, they're not allowed to, they can't attack any card except for that one. And if it has a really high attack, they won't attack it, they'll try to destroy it by card effect. So Bubble Ring wouldn't do anything right then. It would be a wave that would negate that card effect to stop it from being destroyed. But Bubble Ring is good. I would get it if you don't have the right cards to get out your link 4. I run 2 Marincess Snow because they could end up destroying that link 4 by card effect. And if it is destroyed by battle or card effect, target one of those monsters, special summon a Marincess link monster from your extra deck with a lower link rating. So that's why I do run 2 link 3s. I really only use 1, but I do run 2. That way, in case that gets destroyed and I do have Marincess Snow on field. I run 1 Marincess Current. It's again if a Marincess link monster is destroyed by... I'm sorry. When you destroy a card using your Marincess link monster, the link rating times 400 is how much damage they take. But if you destroyed your opponent's link monster using your link, it can be times 500 instead. So if you destroyed with your link 4, they would take 1,600. Or if you destroy one of their link monsters, it would be 2,000 instead. For the non-archetype, I run 1 Powerball. Really great. It usually would be run with something like Tearlaments. Great by putting cards in the graveyard. You wouldn't take the battle damage. It would send the Marincess monsters to the graveyard. Sometimes that you do need, like Sleepy Maiden or Mandarin. It would help with that. So that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, it is quite simple. It's a lot of repeating cards most of the time, because if you do end up getting to your second turn, most of the time you will, you can keep recycling the cards. I run 2 Blue Slugs. mainly because once you use one, you can't really get it out of the grave, except by using your link 3 to add it back to hand. But for the combo, we add an actual monster to hand that we can use. So it's better to have 2 copies of these than to have to use the link 3 effect. I run 3 copies of Sea Angel. This is the main starting card for your extra deck, because if this card is linked something, you can add one Marincess spell from your deck to hand. That helps you get your Battle Ocean and Marincess Dive to hand. It helps you get your field spell, that way when you do link into your link 4, you can attach the link monsters to your spell and trap zone. I run 3 copies of Coral Anemone. Really great, because if you have your link 1 on field and you end up special summoning, say, Marincess, the one that special summons to a link, you can then link 2 into Coral Anemone, and then you could, if you wanted to, get that link 1 back in. But I do end up running 3 copies of that because it is a real starter card in the combo. I run 2 Crystal Hearts, mainly because that since I run the traps, I run 2 traps of it. I run 2. You could end up taking out a trap and replacing it with another hand trap and taking out one of the Marincess Crystal Hearts, because if you do run an extra Marincess Bubble Reef, it does help because you can, if you have 2 of them on the field, you can activate them both because it's that effect of the card. So it's only once per turn for that specific card, not the other copy. Going into the cards where I only run 1 copy of, I do only run 1 copy of Marbled Rock and 1 copy of Coral Triangle. These are the 2 link 3s that I do run. I mainly run Coral Triangle, Marbled Rock for the trap that I have, Marincess Snow. Mainly because if you're using your link 2 Coral Anemone as material, its effect allows you to add 1 card from the grave. And most of the time, you only have 1 regular Marincess monster, and if you just link into Marbled Rock, its effect is to add 1 Marincess card from graveyard to hand. And you don't want to add a link back to your hand, because we need those in the grave for when we link into our link 4. So I go with Coral Triangle, which allows me to send 1 water monster from hand to graveyard, add 1 Marincess trap. That's where we add 1 Marincess Wave. That way we can negate anything that tries to destroy our link 4. So that's it for the link 3s. So for the lower of the link 4s, I run 1 Wonder Heart. Now all the link 4s are really good, and especially Wonder Heart, because if I Sleeping Maiden in grave, I can attach another link monster to Wonder Heart. And whenever Wonder Heart attacks, it can special summon that linked monster. So that's during the battle phase, so you can take extra life points to your opponent. That's really all I use Wonder Heart for, because in the top card I do, in the extra monster zone, the one that I attach more cards to, I do run Aqua Argonaut. Because if your opponent activates a card or card effect, you can special summon 1 link monster that is equipped to it to negate it. So that's also a good way to get more attack, except most of the time that doesn't really happen during the battle phase. It mainly happens during your opponent's turn, and then during the end phase, it attaches itself back. The other link 4, the one that I sometimes use, is Bubble Reef. Banish 1 water monster from your grave during each standby phase. Banish 1 water monster from your grave or face up in the field and draw 1 card. Really good because of the effect of one of the Marincess monsters, where if it's banished, 1 card gains 600 attack. Plus, this card gains attack for each card that is banished, 600 too. So in all reality, if you banish that card, this card could potentially gain 1,200 attack. So that's it for really the main deck and extra deck. I am going to go over the side decking mainly because whoever you're facing, that's just like the most vague hand traps. Ash Blossom is now in really any meta deck, and not a lot of people use Battle Fader, and there are certain hand traps that you do want to run versus certain archetypes. So I do end up having one of each of these cards, mainly because if you're facing like Malice, you would want to have a certain hand trap. If you're facing Junk Synchron's, you would want to have Effect Veiler, so that way you can negate that Synchro's effect to special summon all those Junk Synchron's to their field. So starting off, I do run one Ghost Bell in Haunted Mansion. For graveyard effects, again, like I said, I do run one of the hand traps in my deck that's just most vague. So Ghost Bell would be better if your hand trap in your deck doesn't target that because it's technically specified as something else. I would definitely run Ghost Bell. I run one Nibiru. Really great if you're facing someone that really special summons a lot, like 6 Sam. Though it can work through it sometimes, depending on what the cards they have. Usually when they get when you Nibiru someone, that really cancels out everything that they have, except when they have like graveyard effects. Effect Veiler, it's simple, but if you ever need something, need an extra card to start negating the effects on field, I would end up taking this out of the side deck and putting it into the main deck. I run Ghost Mourner. Really good because when your opponent special summons that monster safe on that extra deck, you can target one of the face-up monsters, negate its effects, and then if it leaves the field, your opponent has to take damage equal to its attack. It's okay when facing Malice. As you can tell, I really hate Malice players. I really hate the archetype much, but they don't have high level attacks until you get to like Link 4s, but after that they don't really leave the field. But you could end up using this on one of the lower links and they would have to take the damage, or they can just stop the combo. Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. I've never seen anyone else run this card. I think it is really good because if your opponent special summons an effect monster during the main phase or battle phase, you can gain life points to that monster's attack. And if they just end up don't special summoning, you just have your life points. I think it's a win-win because either you gain the life points and they do special summon, that way you don't get OTK, or they just don't combo at all and you just lose half your life points. But I mean, if they don't combo at all, you can really just OTK them. So I think it's a win-win. Going to the spells, I do have Swords of Revealing Light in the deck, just in case Swords of Concealing Light don't work. Most of the time it does. I run Fissure. I haven't seen anybody in common Yu-Gi-Oh! Use that card, but it's one of the good hand traps, or it's one of the good spells to use in your deck to destroy one of your opponent's monsters. Monster Reborn. Again, I would never really run this in a deck, except if your opponent can easily take out your Link 4, I would definitely run Monster Reborn. That way you can just summon it back. The problem is that it wouldn't go with the effect of your field spell because it wasn't Link summoned. So there's a problem with it. That's why I don't normally run it. Change of Heart, basically like a non-costly monster controller. Is that what it's called? And the game console controller thing. Target one monster opponent controls will take control of it till the end phase. really, it's okay because we don't have a way where we can actually link off with it or get rid of it. That way they don't get it during the end phase. But it's good if you want to attack your opponent with it, and that way they don't have an extra negate or something during the battle phase. There can only be one, mainly because all the monsters we use are water, and all the Marincess monsters are cybers. So water, cybers, it'll work. The only thing is that you can't run your non-engines like your Trickstar, Aqua Angel, or your Ice Jade, because they're still water, but they're not the same attribute. But there can only be one target's the type, so water, you can still kind of run it. I would just be careful if you're gonna run anything with it. Anything else, if say you're gonna tribute or take out the Ice Jades and maybe run like an extra deck with it. I can't give an example, but I wouldn't run this in the deck if you're gonna do that. I run one Drowning Mirror Force, that way, because a lot of monsters have an effect to where it can't be destroyed. So I like Drowning Mirror Force, that way they're just shuffled into the deck instead. That way it's not added to hand, it's not sent to the graveyard so they have graveyard effects, it's not destroyed so they have effects. It's shuffled into the deck. Not a lot of monsters have the effects, and it's not targeting, so I find Drowning Mirror Force really good in the deck. Warning point. When a monster is summoned, it cannot attack, its effects are negated. Also, it cannot be used as material for a fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link summon. This is a better option for, it's a better option for Moonlight Chill, because instead of them just taking damage, they just can't use it at all. I run one Terrors of the Underroot, great Malice counter, because they can try and use the effect to pay 600 and special summon from the graveyard. You could Terror of the Underroot them and end up switching what cards they have banished. I run one Liberty at Last. If they end up destroying my League 4 and then attacking one of my cards and destroy it, then I can destroy two monsters they control. It is targeting, so sometimes it wouldn't work if they have where it can't be targeted or they have an effects that negate it. I run Different Dimensions Ground. This turning a monster sent to the graveyard or banished instead. Activated during your opponent's turn. If they're running something that have graveyard effects, never ever run this card if you're facing someone that plays Malice. It would just help them out. But that's it for the main deck. I'm gonna go ahead and go into the one card combos for Marincess. So for the one card combo, it's just Marincess Seahorse in your hand. The combo you're gonna start off with is just normal summoning it, which it doesn't have an effect on normal summon, but it does have an effect. So once you link off of it into Blue Slug allows you to add this card back to hand. Then we use the effect of Seahorse, special summon to the zone it points to. I will then link again into Sea Angel. Sea Angel allows you to add your field spell. I would go ahead and activate your field spell now, because if you don't have other Marincess monster that can special summon or normal summon itself, then you can only get to a link 3. But most of the time, you would have another Marincess monster to get there. But for the one card combo, you don't. I would go ahead and link for link 2 into Coral Anemone, which allows you to special summon back your Seahorse. Really, you can special summon any of these. You can do Blue Slug or Sea Angel. I just choose to go with the regular monster. I mean, there's no point in special summoning these because we already used their effects. I will then go ahead and special summon again into a link 3. There's chain links to it. I will go chain link 1, chain link 2. Chain link 2 goes first. Coral Anemone allows you to add Seahorse back to your hand. Battle Ocean, since we can only go to a link 3, I'll go ahead and activate it so then you can equip the link monsters to that card. I'll go ahead and activate its effect to discard the card you added to go ahead and add a trap. This is where Marincess Wave comes in. I wouldn't set it. It is a trap that negates, but since you control a link 3 or higher Marincess monster, you can activate this card from your hand. Technically classified as a quick play spell that can be activated during your opponent's turn. So if you want to negate it, you can just activate it from hand since you control that link 3. Just make sure you activate it before that card gets destroyed or something. That's really all for the 1-card combo because there's nothing else you can do. Unless you have, like, say another Marincess monster in your hand that allows you to, like, normal summon and then special summon. And you would always have that card. But if you literally just have Seahorse, which that is highly doubtful, this is the best that you can get. So I'm gonna go ahead and run a test hand, and I'm gonna walk you through exactly what I would do using the test hand and exactly how you can combo off using the combo. Alright, going into the combo, we're gonna pretend like I was going first. We're gonna run 5. So this is my hand. I did end up drawing Battle Ocean, so I can skip a step, and then instead of using the link 1 to get my field spell, I can just use it to get Marincess Dive. So I have Pascalis, which is a great starting card in here. I have Blue Tang, so I would use that with Pascalis. Sleepy Maiden is good to have in the graveyard, but since we don't normally get 2 of the link 4s on the same turn, we don't usually use Pascalis on turn 1. First thing I would do is I would go and bait for hand traps or anything. I would activate Battle Ocean, mainly because it's dispensable, because we could just get it from the link 1 if they end up negating it. For the next thing I would do is I would normal summon Pascalis and use its effect to special summon Blue Tang. Blue Tang's effect, it does go off when it was special summoned, send 1 Marincess monster from the deck to grave. Now, when you're doing this, and you know you can have 2 Marincess monsters still on the field, I would send Marincess Mandarin because you can special summon it from the graveyard to a zone of Marincess link monster points to, as long as you control 2 Marincess monsters, which is easy to do, because watch this. I would then link using Blue Tang into Marincess Blue Slug. It allows you to add 1 card back to hand. I would add Blue Tang. We already used its effect, but we don't need to add mana if we could just use its effect during the graveyard. Since we control 2 Marincess and there's an empty zone that it points to, we can special summon it to that zone. Good effect, really good effect right there. I would then link 1 into Sea Angel. Sea Angel's effect allows us to add a Marincess spell. Since we already have the field spell, I would add Marincess Dive to hand. I wouldn't necessarily activate Dive right now. You could if you wanted to. I usually like to combo and see what exactly, and when I come to a point where like, oh, well, I need this, then I would activate Dive. So I'm gonna go ahead and just link 2 into my Coral Anemone, use its effect to special summon Mandarin back. Then you could link 3 and go into Coral Triangle, because that way you can use its effect to send Blue Tang, since you already used its effect, to the graveyard to add 1 Marincess trap. Marincess Wave. See, so I missed it, but I would be really watchful for what cards you end up link summoning with, because Blue Tang did have an effect where if you link summon using this card, excavate the top 3 and add 1 excavated Marincess to your hand. It would have really been good if I would have caught it, but I'm just going to show you like the basic 5 test hand. So now that you add a Marincess Wave, keep it in your hand, don't set it. Then I would link into a link 4 into Aqua Argonaut. Activate Battle Ocean's effect. I would activate Aqua Argonaut's effect to what I would do. Technically, because if that card would get destroyed, this would go to the graveyard. But it has an effect, or if you control no monsters, it says you can banish this card from your graveyard if only your opponent controls a monster. To special summon water link monsters from your graveyard whose combined link ratings equal exactly 3. So you can still have it equipped to the monster, to Aqua Argonaut, because when it gets destroyed, you would only control no monsters, so you can still activate it. Coral Anemone, and I would do, it doesn't matter which one you do, Blue Slug or Sea Angel, its effects aren't activated. It's great. So now you can still go one more with Marincess Dive and just special summoning one of these. It really doesn't matter. I would wait, mainly because during your next turn you can activate Dive to get Pascalis, which allows you to special summon one Marincess in hand, so like your Sleepy Maiden. I would definitely use that later on in the turn. You do have an effect negate, you have a spell and trap negate, a monster effect negate, and in the hand, you're not always going to draw it, but I do have Battle Fader in my hand, so when you draw it, you do have a negate that ends the battle phase. You're not always going to draw it, but you sometimes also will draw other hand traps, like Ash Blossom. That's also really good. So there's a lot of things that you can do. But that's it for like the test hand. You can end up substituting Ice Jade for any other archetype that you want, or you can end up getting your extra deck your side deck and end up putting it into your deck. But that is it for the Marincess combo. I hope it serves you well. I think it's a really great archetype to run, especially when you get to learn it and you do end up catching what graveyard effects you do have when you link summon. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you back, collectors.